Hello everybody, I'm TychoCelchuuu, and this is another Men of War video. It's British versus Japanese, I guess again, and it's a 2v2. We're playing Victory Flag. Victory Flag is the game mode where there's one big flag basically in the middle of the map, and then both teams try and capture it before the time runs out. And if the time does run out, which it often does, the team with the most points at the end wins, and you get points by killing enemy units. The more expensive enemy unit you kill, the more points you get. And right off the bat, I buy a submachine gun squad, and I also buy sort of a light AT gun, sort of a medium AT gun, I guess. The light would be the 2-pounder, the 6-pounder kind of a medium. We're fighting the Japanese. Their tanks do not get super heavy, and also this is the early game when you're also expecting light vehicles, and even infantry, and so I figure I'm going to be doing a lot of shelling the flag and the area around the flag. I want fast fire rate, and I want to be able to punch through all this Japanese stuff, so 17-pounder would probably be overkill, especially for the beginning of the game when they're not going to have a tank, and I want a fast fire rate to keep shelling that infantry, so I buy a 6-pounder, not a 2-pounder. I want to be able to punch through their vehicles at the very least without too much trouble, so 6-pounder should take care of it with the weak Japanese armor. And my ally right off the bat just buys a Cromwell tank. You know, he's supporting me, which is good enough. I mean, I would prefer if he was also attacking the flag with infantry, but, you know, he had to spend all his points on the tank, so he saved all his points for a tank, and so he's just shelling possible Japanese locations. A little premature, because you see my men are just now arriving, so the Japanese probably would have had to sprint to even be there in the first place, but, you know, I guess he wants to preemptively keep the Japanese off the point, so I just get one guy onto the point. The more you have, the faster it'll go, but typically no one really captures the flag, at least not for quite a while. So, yeah, he just killed my guy. That was, there's really no excuse. He was direct controlling, so now we have -2 points, actually. I didn't know you got negative points for killing teams, but, apparently you do. So, like I said, I wasn't really trying to capture the point, and you see, even if I had, like, I don't know, 4% or something, and it goes down when you're not in the middle, so if nobody's there, the flag will just revert to neutral. But actually it's Japanese right now. You can see the little Japanese flag going up to 2%. That means they have infantry somewhere, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I figure they're on the other side of that building, but I wasn't really sure, and I only have one guy there. In any case, my ally keeps shelling and eventually hits one of them, so now we know where they are. So yeah, typically no one captures the flag, at least for quite a while, because it's very difficult. Both sides are trying to capture the flag. Both sides are not only trying to capture the flag, they're also pumping lots of firepower into the flag to keep their opponent from capturing it. So typically there's not an early flag capture, so it's not worth going for it. I do put a guy or two in there for insurance and just to pressure my opponents. We have a tank duel right now, kind of interesting. Neither player moving. I guess my ally's not moving because his track got knocked off. Japanese probably should have kept moving because his turret just got destroyed and his main gun, so he can still back up and run away, but we'll see if he makes it out before my ally's tank punches through. I am, of course, rooting for my ally in this fight. So I buy another squad of submachine gun, and I notice my light AT gun is too far out of range to do anything to that tank, but that's okay. I'll let my ally's tank handle this stuff for now, and just use my AT gun to cover the middle point. So I tell my guy to get up in that building. I figure that's sort of in the capture zone. You see it's still at 10%, now 11% for Japanese, so that means they have a few more people in the zone than me. They probably have 3 guys to my 2. And I'm trying to figure out what to buy. My guy in that building is perfectly protected, basically. The building provides fantastic protection. And I was just hoping my ally would start shelling with his tank, and that is exactly what happened. So I was just holding out and waiting for my ally to resume the bombardment. And it's working pretty well. Not a lot the Japanese can do to a Cromwell from the front at such a long distance. If they got closer, they could have a pretty easy time of penetrating it. And certainly they can flank it. It would not be too difficult to flank on this map. The sides are very open compared to the middle, but straight down the center is basically a corridor of death against heavily armored British tanks with light Japanese guns. I mean, they can keep shooting, and they probably can knock it out eventually, but it's safer just to use a more circuitous route. Speaking of circuitous routes, I'm sending my men around the church. I was trying to flank, they got under fire, so I know they'll get zeroed in if I wait around. So I try and get to the side, but there's too many people there. So good job, my opponents, anticipating flanks and stuff and having people set up on the flanks to get ready for that. You'll notice I have the same sort of thing going on. And that's a machine gunner, so I'm like, ooh, I'm going to take you out. So I'm taking out a grenade and direct controlling. You see I cook it for a moment. before I toss it, and basically a perfect throw right on the guy, and he fires back, but it's not going to do anything. There's a wall there, buddy. And submachine gunners, of course, come with 2 grenades, very nice, and so I can get another one into this trench with the guy in the hole, and you know, the more people you kill, the better things are looking. Of course, the Cromwell is what does him in eventually, but you see in the points, upper right, 37 for us, only 4 for the enemy. They really haven't killed much at all. They're going to have to step up their game. I'm trying to figure out what I can do to make this light AT gun more useful, because they really have to push kind of far towards the middle point for it to start shelling them. But you see I leave it in place right now. So there's another Japanese tank that's a medium tank or a heavy tank. It's one of the heaviest tanks the Japanese can get, I think. Not the heaviest, but it's pretty heavy, and they've got ahead and bought 2 of them. So, like I said, Corridor of Death is not going to work out super well for the Japanese. Presumably they will eventually punch through the Cromwell's armor if they keep up sustained fire, but Cromwell can do the same to them, and I'm guessing the Cromwell's got a better gun and better armor. In any case, look at that, turret destroyed. Of course, that doesn't mean anything right now because it's already aimed at the Cromwell, and it still has its treads anyways, so it can still aim sort of by turning. But yeah, right now I'm just waiting to see how the situation plays out, watching my ally duel these 2 tanks. I'm debating whether or not to flank around the side or not. I'm actually pretty confident in the Cromwell. Okay, let's say I'm halfway confident in the Cromwell. I think there's a pretty good chance the Cromwell's going to win, but there's also, a not insignificant chance the Japanese are going to punch through the Cromwell eventually, and then we'll pretty much be screwed because they'll have 2 tanks overlooking the middle and we'll have nothing. So I decide to send some submachine gunners around if, as a backup plan if my ally isn't able to take them out. Or perhaps this will go on forever and I'll have time to sneak around. And so eventually I make a decision of what to do with my 6-pounder AT gun. I buy a mortar and I put it so it can look over the middle, turret destroyed on this Cromwell, so he's only going to be able to take out one of those Japanese tanks because his treads are gone too, so he won't be able to aim once he's taken out one of the tanks. So I buy a mortar and I stick it behind his house. You'll see him arrive there eventually, and then I decide to use my 6-pounder to cover the mortar and more generally the left flank. A 6-pounder plus the infantry I have spread out will pretty much hold down anything they're going to send around the left flank unless they send a tank, and boom, there's the end of the Cromwell. So suddenly things don't look good. I don't know where my ally got a flamethrower dude, but that's nice. Oh, and I saw that little grenade throw animation, so I got out of there. See, try and save all your men. It's always worth it. So now we have 2 Japanese tanks looking over the middle. I think one of them's got the turret destroyed. Maybe my ally knocked out a tread or something while I wasn't watching, but in any case, they're both still alive, still functional, and we have nothing, just a hulk of a Cromwell. So I start spreading out my submachine gunners to try and take control of this left, and then once I've got like extreme control of the left, I can move in and do some special stuff to those guys. So here, like I said, here's my 6-pounder, and here's the mortar. The mortar's in a fantastic position. Pretty much safe from anything except guys coming up from the left, and that's what I have all my submachine gunners and bushes plus the 6-pounder for. But after the mortar fires a few shells, I reposition it because you should always reposition your mortar. And we have a bit of lag here. Don't know what that was about, but this guy's on fire. No, he's not. The end. So trying to figure out how to take care of these tanks, I'm pretty much moving my submachine gunners infantry forward, and my plan is just to sneak up behind them and throw AT grenades. The Japanese tanks, their armor's thin enough that an AT grenade will blow it up. Most tanks will get blown up by an AT grenade, especially if you hit the engine, or some people say they prefer to hit the turret. I got some comments on one of my videos. The turret is a more likely kill or more likely destroyed. You'll almost definitely knock out the turret unless it's a very strong turret. But a turret kill will often not kill the tank. It will destroy the turret and the main gun and kill some people, but it often will not kill the tank. Unfortunately, a group of assault infantry show up, and not much I can do about that. I get myself owned. Of course, like an idiot, the Japanese sent their tanks straight into the middle, even when they knew there's a flamethrower guy there. Kill the flamethrower guy, but engine on fire. So, like I said, turret is typically a confirmed turret kill by a AT grenade, but it often won't knock out the tank, whereas an engine hit will often knock out the tank because it'll destroy the engine. The tank will blow up.